the next significant change that we are going to be covering is the end chat functionality, right? You already saw that when I click the end chat button, the history form shows up. And then if the the name or topic key is not already put in, it gives you the option to change that before you save the chat history, right? So that is covered here in the on end chat clicked file, right? That happens here, on end clicked. Now, what the on end click does is that it launches the history form, and then it does a couple of things. It first passes in the current username that's kept in a global variable into something called the last chance username, right? We'll take a look at this when we come to the history form. And then it also passes the same value to the hidden username attribute of this history form. There are a couple of things that I want to cover when it comes to this hidden username, right? Now imagine that you have not put in your topic key, right? That means this global variable's current username will have the default value u, right? And both these values will be passed into these two controls, right? Now, if I switch to the history form, there is this text box, and if you observe the form key of the text box, it is set to last chance username, right? And the reason for that is the application is offering the user a last chance to save the username or the topic key, right, before the chat history is saved. So that's why I call it the last chance username, right? Then there is also another control on this form. It's called the hidden control. Now remember, the hidden component or the control is not under basic components, right? It doesn't form a part of the form components. Rather, it forms a part of the data components. And this is where the hidden is. So when you drag this in here, just like any other control, you give it a name. And the name of this control is hidden username, but its field key is hidden username without the underscore, right? Now, keep this in mind and save this somewhere. The reason I'm saying that is because typically in a form, when you're adding a UI, right, a control like this, and you have the field key, and you invoke this form in a show form or a get form values or set form values activities, what happens is normally all form controls will be auto-populated here. You see that header history, label history, yes, no. All of these form-based UI controls, their form keys will be populated in the dictionary. But a hidden control will not be populated here. You have to add it explicitly using the add entry. And that's most likely because the hidden control is not part of the form controls, but it's part of the data controls, right? So here you can see I've added this explicitly by using the add entry button, right? And then I passed it in this value. This is the first part that I wanted to cover. The second part is, why would you need to pass in this value, the same value twice, once to the text field and once to the hidden field? Now that is explained away by the fact that I am actually making this text input invisible if the user has already put in a valid key, right? If the user has put in a valid key that goes with that conversation, then this text box is not shown. And that's why you can see that it says, do you still prefer the topic key to be you? If not, change it, right? So it appears only if the value that you're passed in is you. Now, that visibility or invisibility is enabled by the conditional setting on this text box, right? If you open up the settings of this text box and go into conditional, there is a simple condition that you can invoke. And what it says is, this component should display true if another component of the form, remember, not this component, but the other component of the form has a value, right? So I am passing the username to this hidden username control, right? And I'm saying to this form, if the hidden username control contains the value u, then you have to toggle this text box to true. If that value is not u, then you toggle this to false, in which case the text box disappears, right? The thing that you have to note is that you cannot write validations on the same control, right? You cannot self-load this on the same control. For example, you cannot say that display this text box if the value in this text box is u, because it doesn't even give you the option to select that text box control, right? You see, there is no text box here. There is no last chance username control listed here because it isn't even an option. So you have to put it into a hidden control and then use the hidden control's value to drive this condition, right? So this is the second second thing that you have to remember when you are using hidden controls on your form, right? So now let us imagine that the user has not put in the form key, right? The proper topic key or the username. This particular text box is displayed, and the user will enter their topic key and then click the yes button. So on clicking the yes button, the trigger that responds to that is the on history yes clicked. The majority of this is covered in the previous video. So here I'm going to just cover the changes. So what it does is once the yes button is clicked, it takes the input from the form that you just put in, the last chance username, and then puts it into a value called resolved username. And that resolved username is the one that is going to be used when your file is saved, right? So if your context key or your topic key is Formula One Racing, then the name of your notepad file will be Formula One Racing _ the timestamp. So the other change that's important here is what is prepended to the chat history, right? When you save the file, when you save the chat history to Notepad, right? So if I open up one of these history files that I've recorded previously, here is the line, right? All the model parameters, right? Now, those are prepended to the chat history text. Remember, the values that are going to be written to this chat history are actually the text form, and therefore, anything that you append, you have to append or prepend to the chat history text, right? So this line here, you see, it prepends the token usage history, no change here, but what is new here is that it will also prepend your model parameters to the chat history, right? So here, all the model parameters plus then your global variables chat history text, right? And after that, after the entire passage of history is composed, it will take that and write it to Notepad, save it with the file name that it has created using the username, and then it will open up that history file for you to review and inspect, right? So it's simple, but it kind of makes this application much more user-friendly and much more intuitive when it comes to keeping track of your historic conversation. Before we end this video, I'm going to run another small test, right? And what I'm going to do is I want to demonstrate a conversation where the nature of the discussion is a little more technical, meaning you are asking a technical question and the model sends you code that has got a lot of reserved characters in it. And the idea here is to see whether this application is going to break, right? So now let me say that you are a knowledgeable, which you might call VB.NET expert. And then this time I'm going to put in the key, right? And I'm going to say VB.NET, VBNet rejects research, right? I'm going to just give it a meaningful name. And I say, now you can see that I started with a prompt that contains reserved characters within it, right? There are double quotes in it, right? And when the JSON is actually composed, right, if you have single double quotes in it, it's going to break. But based on the code we have written, you saw that it has worked satisfactorily, right? So somehow it's good here. Now, it doesn't stop there. The conversation has to, I have to follow up this conversation a bit more, but look at the nature of the response. It contains a lot of meta characters, right? A lot of special characters, backslash, colon, right? Single quote, etc. And now when I ask a follow-up question, this entire batch of text is going to be sent back to the model, right? Now, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask it to write me the same code in C# text, in C# language, right? And I'm not going to give it the problem definition. I'm going to say, so if this test fails, that means there is something in this text that will cause the JSON to break, right? Let's see. There it is. It has come back now with C# code. So, it looks like it is working, right? And I'm going to follow up with another other question. Okay, that looks good because the last time it gave me a lot of explanations. Finally, I'm going to say, okay, so this entire chat history, that is the VB.NET code, the C# code, all of that was sent to the model across these 4 questions, and it didn't break. So that's good. Let me just twist it a little bit and say, there it is. It has summarized the VB.NET code and the C# code one below the other and sent me the response, right? Now I'm going to save this conversation, right? And note that I've already put in a meaningful key, and I'm going to say end chat. Now, here, unlike the first test you saw, there is no input box here. There is no need for the user to update their last chance username because it's already been done initially. And I'm going to go ahead and hit yes. The thing to note here is that the file has been saved with a meaningful, right, topic key, right? And the second thing to note is that after my first prompt, you can see there's not much in my prompts, right? They are very, very, very simple, right? And straightforward and almost lazy, right? So, but it has given me the response that I need. And obviously, you have to cross-check this. You have to verify it and make sure everything works. So that is all for this video, and I hope that you like the content of this session, and I hope that you will take a crack at building a context-based AI chatbot using the new UiPath form-based features, and also using the OpenAI APIs. And if you like the content, please do like and subscribe to my channel, and I'll truly appreciate it. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.